The Vasar top of the key, and he scores. Heads up by Stevenson. He caught that pass right at the near block and handed it off to the big man. 17 for Henry Vasar. North Carolina 80, Syracuse 60. 3.5 to go.
And things would become even more interesting after Nate Kings hit a three.
Kings right to left crossover. Drops it off Kyle. A one-handed hammer. Great feed from Kings, and Kyle the recipient. Timeout taken by North Carolina. Hubert Davis not liking what he's seeing at the second half from his team.
That Kings three came with just over a minute to go. What was nearly a heroic comeback ended up being too little, too late.
And despite a second half little surge from Syracuse, it's not enough. And North Carolina wins 87-77 over Syracuse. The Orange still yet to win inside the Dean Dome.
Number 14, North Carolina, defended its home court and handed Syracuse its fifth loss in 5 games played. And now the Orange dropped to 0-7 all-time in Chapel Hill. As Andrew mentioned, they defended their home court. UNC's now 13-0 at home this season. They've had a fantastic year on their home court this year, and against Syracuse, a lot of nightmares in the past down in Chapel Hill. Well, our player of the game, you wanted to give it to Donnie Freeman the way he was playing, coming back off the bench last time out with only 7 points against Notre Dame, and he has 18 points in the first half against UNC, but only had 5 in the second half, so I have to give it to Caleb Wilson, the obvious answer for North Carolina. He had 23 points, a game high for his team. He really did it all for the Tar Heels, and he is our WAER player of the game. Our next basketball broadcast is this Saturday on February 7th. Syracuse taking on number 18 Virginia. Game is at noon with countdown to tip-off at 11:30. That is our next basketball broadcast. Another chance for the Orange to really kind of bounce back and get a signature win. They haven't had one since that Tennessee win, and ever since then, a lot of bad losses as well. It would be big if SU could get back in the win column here and get a big type of win on the road against UVA. We also have another broadcast this weekend in men's lacrosse on Saturday. Syracuse takes on St. Joe's, and you can catch that on our HD2 broadcast on our HD2 channel. The game is at noon, and countdown to face-off is at 11:30. Mille Lacs starting out with a good win this weekend against Boston University. All right, it's time for a double overtime. It'll go until 11 p.m. with Jish Sokolsky and Gabe Perrin. Guys, this was a game where the Orange came back at the end, but really, the life was sucked out of SU and its fans to start this second half.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, Gabe, you know what that means?
What?
That's how many assists Syracuse had in an 87-77 loss to North Carolina this evening. Absolutely unacceptable ball movement, lifeless offense, as Ryan was saying, and a lack of speed and effort. I don't even care that they scored 37 points in the last 10 minutes of the game. This was a putrid effort.
And we can certainly tell that Jish is very frustrated. We're going to take a look back to some of the other games in the Adrian Autry era over the past 3 years that have been just as frustrating as well.
That was the 22nd quad 1 loss for Adrian Autry. He only has 4 wins, folks. Augie Walters, as we like to call him, was down in Chapel Hill through the snow to report this putrid game. We'll break it all down on the double overtime, which starts right now.
The game may be over, but our coverage on WAER is not. Here on the double overtime, we'll be breaking down all the highs.
Carlos kicks out. Freeman contested the 3. It doesn't matter. It swirls home. The horn sounds, and Donnie Freeman sends this team into the locker room jumping for joy.
Starling from the right wing gets down the lane. His righty layup goes, and the Orange lead.
He's calling all the way for it. Wants it on Suarez. Spins back to his right. Baby hook up, and it goes. And one. Eddie Lampkin rocks the baby around the three-point line.
And the lows.
100 matchups between Georgetown and Syracuse. A long 95-year history. The rivalry is alive and well, and today the victors is Georgetown.
Lowe slices through the defense, behind the back pass. Corhen sticks it up and in. A little razzle-dazzle from Jalen Lowe to Cam Corhen, and that one may be the dagger.
And thus ends the second season under Adrian Autry, and it finishes in the second round. of the ACC tournament in 2025.
Delivering our hottest takes along the way.
But it just makes you wonder what is going on in practice, because each time that Adrian Autry takes the podium, it's a lot of, we're working on it.
We're getting better.
We're working on it. We're getting better. We're getting better. Well, sure, maybe in theory they're getting better.
They are, but
this is a fan base that needs you to be good now.
Say this about Syracuse basketball is crazy, because the brand of Syracuse basketball that I grew up knowing is so far distant from where this team is at now. But I mean, we could be talking about Syracuse at the bottom of the ACC.
I don't think this team makes the ACC tournament at this rate.
Get your voice heard by calling in at 315-443-2011 or check out our YouTube at WAER Sports Talk. It's the double overtime, and it starts right now.
There are not enough words in the English language to describe how badly Syracuse was embarrassed, flummoxed, perplexed, bamboozled to North Carolina this evening, 87-77. Now that score looks a lot closer on paper, but let Gabe Perrin and myself tell you that it was not that close. Come step into our office on the double overtime. We're live until 11 o'clock, and we want you, yes, you, the listener, to tune into our conversation. The easiest way to do so is by giving us a call. 315-443-2011. That's the number to call. Again, 315-443-2011. Write that down on a napkin. Write it down in your notes app on your phone. Call into our show. If you can't, go interact with us on social media. We have a lot of people behind the scenes pumping out some great content there at WAER Sports Talk on X and our YouTube stream by the same name. Now, Gabe, yes, Syracuse did make it a 10-point game. But as I love to say, one of my favorite expressions is this was just lipstick on a pig for just how lifeless and slow. That was the big thing for me, Gabe, how slow the Syracuse offense was.
I was going to say, Jish, if you don't really know how to work a TV, you only can listen on, or maybe not even listen on the radio, just looking on your phone, looking at that final score. Yeah, that score looks pretty good. You're playing against number 14 North Carolina in a place you've never won. And only a 10-point game, you could say, but if you watch this whole game like you and I did, it's rough. And like you mentioned there, the speed. I noticed this probably for the first time this season, I think in the game against Houston. And you see it against some ranked teams, but also just generally with this team throughout the season, the speed is such an issue. It's just as simple as that. This team is not faster than almost any other team they play. They can't keep up, and that's both offensively and defensively.
That was the pillar of this team when it was looking really good to start, right, against your Binghamtons and Delaware States of the world. They were fast. They were out in transition. They were just completely outrunning all these mid-major schools.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. The big boys have come to play, and it's been really the half-court offense all season that's been the issue, right? And finally the transition offense is saying, hey, wait, I'm also bad. But it's been the half-court offense because, usually it's a good thing when people say, oh, Syracuse is playing chess, not checkers. Well, when you're playing basketball, you don't want it to be like chess, Gabe, because I would liken this half-court offense to a game of chess where only one piece moves at a time.
And
only one piece moves at a time. You have Betsy standing in the corner just picking grass off a hardwood floor. You got Nate Kings just standing on the wing, just kind of waiting his turn. There's no gravity moving downhill with any of these guys who are driving. It comes back to the speed. J.J. Starling, he can blow by you, but you can guard him one-on-one. There's no player, except for maybe Donnie Freeman, who you'd have to double team. So having people just stagnant and not moving at all, you don't win games that way.
No, not at all. And I wouldn't even say chess or checkers. It's almost like golf because when you're moving, you're kind of moving by yourself out there when you're on this team because no one else is there to help you. No one there is moving around the half court or around the perimeter or even anywhere on the court to help them. When this team plays their best, you see players connected. You see players knowing where they should be, knowing where they need to go for that play to happen, whether that's on offense or defense. But specifically talking about offense, you see that with William Kyle going up for the alley-oop. You see that with a J.J. Starling on a good shooting day going out to the corner, something like that where a player knows their role and they know where they should be. They're moving at the same time as other players, but tonight, until the last maybe 5 minutes, you just didn't see that. And even then, I thought that was more transition offense that got a little better.
Yeah.
It wasn't the half-court offense.
Right. It's kind of it's weird that as the game goes on, somehow the energy gets a little better. I'm glad you mentioned.
I don't get that.
I'm glad you mentioned William Kyle and knowing your role. If I have to see William Kyle stand at the 3-point line at the top of the key, ball in his hands for like 10 seconds, looking like a lost puppy, not knowing where to go, I might lose my mind, Gabe. I might lose my mind. What is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas? What is he doing out there? That is not your game. You haven't made a 3 all season. You can barely make a free throw. Get into the paint, catch a lob. If you're coming out, it better be like a dolphin coming up for air. You're going right back down. You're setting that ball screen, and then you're rolling right to the hoop. There is no reason. You don't need William Kyle to stand at the top of the key and hand out handoffs to guards who are just going to loop around into a double team. There's no reason William Kyle should be out there. He sticks out like a sore thumb. It's a big reason he had 2 points tonight because they keep giving him the ball at the perimeter. Why?
I don't get it.
Why? And what's really crazy, Gabe, when they put in his backup, Akir Soiree, somehow he just knew his role. And the offense, he only played 10 minutes, and those were the best 10 minutes of the game. Because what Akir Soiree did was he would come out, he would set a high ball screen on Nate George, and then get right back into the paint.
Yep.
He scored 6 points today. He hasn't done that all season.
No.
He has not done that all season. He was the only one, for my money, that cared about moving off ball and creating space for the offense, letting Nate George cook as your point guard.
And what's interesting about Akir Soiree and Nathan George is that we were tallying this up before the game.
This is awesome.
This is unofficial because we don't have the full
We
stats.
can make it official because it's us.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on.
2 people have confirmed it.
Yes.
What was it? Nathan George, without Akir Soiree on the court, only had 4 points and 2 assists.
He finished the game with 15 points, by the way.
There we go.
15 points.
And
Only
4
4 of them
assists.
came without his best buddy.
That is just ridiculous, and that should be a sign to this coaching staff that, hey, when Akir's out there, Nathan's out there. When Nathan's out there, Akir's out there. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see one of them on the court without the other.
You should tie their legs
for
together
the rest of the season. Yes, genuinely. Do what is it? The sack race. just do that.
Three-legged race.
I promise. Yeah, I promise it'll work.
You know, the Syracuse offense might look good enough if you just do that. I mean, they were teammates at Georgia Tech. They obviously have that chemistry. It just seems like whenever Akir was out there, that's when it finally unlocked Nathan George. We have our first caller of the evening to talk about this crazy game that the box score, I think, is lying to you. Keith from Casanova, a longtime listener and caller. Keith, you are on the air, W8ER. What do you got to say?
Oh, guys, man, I have one thing to say. 9-2. 9 turnovers, 2 assists at halftime. That is not a winning formula for basketball. And I think they ended up, I don't even know what the assist total was at the end of the game. I think it was under double digits.
7, yeah.
But I don't know what we're doing out there. I mean, and the defense, these guys were going right down our throats, down the paint, putting it in. We weren't adjusting. We weren't switching over. There wasn't a lot of communication on defense in the first half. But 9-2, you can't turn the ball over 9 times. You can't just have 2 assists and expect to win that game against a team like North Carolina. And I don't even think we've hit rock bottom. With all due respect to the guys who were before the show started, they were talking about any hopes of the NCAA tournament. Tournament? We're not going to the NCAA tournament. That is over. It's over.
As Jim Moore would say. I don't know if you're on social media, but it reminds me of a Judah Mintz tweet. It's funny that Judah Mintz, of all people, is tweeting this. He said, bro, our assist-to-turnover ratio is literally the opposite of what it should be, Keith. And even if it was 9 assists to 2 turnovers, that still wouldn't be good. But the fact that it's 2 assists to 9 turnovers, that's a great point. I mean, it's a testament to the lack of off-ball movement in my eyes.
Well, you can't start off that way because you're digging a deep hole you can't climb out of. And I know we have these bursts where we rattle off a lot of points, but it's too little too late. Mm-hmm. At that point, it's over. You're digging a hole that we cannot climb out of. We're not that good to climb out of holes like that.
It just sets a bad example, right? It really does when, there's nobody moving off ball. That sets a bad precedent, a bad tone. If there's nobody, trying unless they have the ball in their hands. It's a kind of a sign, in my eyes, of a bad attitude as a team.
Yeah, I think you've got the ball, and if you're driving down the paint, you dish it off to somebody else who's standing there all by himself because you're wearing two guys on you who are trying to stop you getting to the hoop, right? You don't need to score and get your 20 points a game. You can dish it off to somebody who's wide open and get easy looks. And, we hit some threes here and there. We're not a great, three-point shooting team. But, they played defense like they cared in the last, couple minutes there when they kind of cut it to 10. But the announcers, I think Jay Williams and those guys were being nice and saying, oh, Syracuse is trying to win this game. We were not going to win that game.
Yeah,
but fundamentally, though, this team is seriously flawed. And this is not rock bottom. We're going to come up against a Duke team that's number 4 in the country. We've got some serious speed bumps coming up, Virginia, and I wonder whether we're going to have a program worst defeat in the near future, because we're lucky we didn't lose by 30 points today.
Thank you for your call, Keith. Thank you for calling in to the double overtime. And I want to touch on something that was mentioned there. 2 assists at halftime, and that lasted. I think it went to 3 assists at some point early in the second half, and then that 3 number hung around until maybe 8 minutes to go in the game. Then you saw that climb up to 7, which is still just abysmal, Jesh.
You know why it climbed up?
Why?
They let Akir Soiree back into the game.
See? There you go.
Who would have thought, if you told me going into this game that Akir Soiree would be the offensive fire plug, I would have questioned your morality as a person.
Your sanity.
I would have questioned if you should be allowed to talk sports again if that's what you told me.
Agreed.
Akir Soiree has never been the offensive guy. It took him, I think, like a dozen games to score his first points with the Orange.
And now he doesn't play a lot, but whenever he is on the floor, at least and up until tonight, you just don't see much. He is not much of an offensive guy up until tonight, once again. And that really did shock me. I have not been on the Akir Soiree train. I don't think many people have been on the Akir Soiree train.
I'm all aboard.
I guess so. I guess I am too. I'm joining the club. Akir Soiree, I'm not going to say start him, but like we mentioned earlier, with Nathan George, that is a lethal combo. If we don't see that over the next few games, then there's something seriously wrong.
We have another caller to talk about this game, Maxine from Oklahoma. Maxine, what do you got? You're on the air.
How you doing, guys? You're doing a great job, unlike Red and the rest of the team. But I want to suggest a new coach for next year. He's not really on the radar of anybody, but Carlos, what's his name? Carlos Beltran from Miami, Ohio. He's got those guys playing well. I think they're undefeated, and I think Wild Hack should look into him.
Carlos Beltran, are you talking about the guy who just got inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, or is this actual
No,
coach?
no, he's the assistant coach for Miami, Ohio.
Gotcha, yeah. And that is a good Red Hawks team, for sure.
I mean, really good.
It's kind of a coincidence they got the same name there. I think, if that is the case, if that's what Syracuse does, I mean, why not bring in someone from an undefeated culture? But, I mean, does it concern you that it's an assistant coach at the MAC level?
Yeah.
For me personally, no. I mean, this guy knows winning. He made stops at Western Kentucky. He made stops at, St. Francis, I believe. This is a basketball guy through and through, and I just want to hear your guys' take on it.
I mean, I don't hate the thought there. I don't see why you don't go with Travis Steele. Thank you for your call. Yeah, no. I mean, Travis Steele.
I'm not seeing a Carlos Beltran.
A wonderful coach. I don't believe. Yeah, Carlos Beltran is. Congratulations on making the Hall of Fame,
sure,
Carlos. By the way, probably not the best choice for to coach Syracuse basketball. Travis Steele is a good coach, though, I will say.
If you have anything, just throw it at the wall. I mean, why not, right? I mean, I might as well submit my application for it, right? If you want to submit your application to coach Syracuse men's basketball, you can call us, 315-443-2011. We can't give you the job, but we can talk about, what you bring to the table. Because right now, as we've kind of seen in the later years of Jim Boeheim and the few years we've seen in Adrian Autry, can it really get much worse offensively? I feel like if I were the head coach of this team, I'd implement some more plays. You'd see like some half-hearted plays. There was a time early in the second half where there was this nice like double screen handoff to I believe it was Nate George coming around to double screen from Betsy and Freeman, but then he ran right into a wall. The picks were kind of uninspired. They were standing right next to each other, almost like they were forming a wall for a penalty kick in soccer. I would want to see more plays ran and more off-ball movement coming in. We have another caller, John from Liverpool, to talk about William Kyle, what he was doing on the floor, or lack thereof, John.
Well, guys, I'm not sure which one of you guys made the comment after William Kyle had that monster dunk that was the number one highlight on the ESPN Top 10 a month ago. Somebody in your studio said that he would go in the NBA draft ahead of Donnie Freeman. I don't know who said that, but don't be betting on that one.
I don't think I will, John. Thank you for your call. We'll track him down and we'll talk some sense into them.
I'm not claiming that.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
claiming
that. I disavow that take, John. Thank you for your call. William Kyle, only 2 points tonight, 5 rebounds. Donnie Freeman, 23 points. I mean, I don't know if there's necessarily an NBA case for Donnie Freeman after tonight's game either, especially after what he did on the defensive end. But if you disagree, you can call in just like John did, just like our past 3 callers have. The number is 315-443-2011, a.k.a. one of the last years that Syracuse basketball was in the national title conversation and was relevant. What a great year that one was, huh?
Sure was.
It wasn't 2013 or anything, but
or 2016.
We're very far removed from those days is what I'm trying to say.
Very far. And I want to go back to something you said about setting up that offense right before we got the caller. You see Adrian Autry in a lot of these press conferences say, "Oh, the shots weren't falling. Oh, it's one of those days." But here's the issue: it's been 10 of those days now, and that's also the second issue. Actually, is that's just not the case because it's not just one of those days. It's not that shots aren't falling. It's that you're not putting your players in a position for the shots to fall. There's no movement. There's no screens. There's nothing like that to get players open or at least in an area where they can make a shot even if it's contested. And once you get that movement, which I just don't think it's going to come, we're so deep into the season now that I think it's just too late. I mean, 23 games in. But now that you just don't have that movement, you can't even say that it's not something like that.
I think the biggest example of this, we keep kind of gesturing to it, but I think back to with a minute 45 left in the first half, there was a shot clock violation where you might as well just play the Benny Hill theme music, and that would have been a perfect backdrop for what we saw. It was like Nate George, top of the key, drive, kicks to Tyler Betsy, who was not expecting the ball. He was just standing there. He gives it right back to him. Almost a game of hot potato, but nobody was moving until Nate George didn't even realize that they were out of time and just had to chuck up a shot like 5 seconds after the shot clock buzzer had gone off. We have another caller, John from Lafayette. I don't know if you want to talk about that play or anything else, but the floor is yours. Go ahead, John.
It seemed really concerning to me for a while there. It seemed like UNC was about to do to us what we apparently can't do against teams like Northeastern. And, once again, it's a situation where there's a ton of players out there that have hypothetical talent. They're good in theory. They're good with an asterisk. And yet they don't play cohesively as a team. And, of course, the amount of assists or the lack of them reflects that. The amount of times where you see them on offense and many of them are just standing there reflects that. It's concerning.
It's like, does somebody need to poke them with a stick? Gabe and I were joking, John. Do they know each other's names? Do they know each other's birthdays?
Do they say happy birthday?
I don't. The team chemistry is just kind of. I mean, we can't speculate on this, but what we see on the floor is a team that's not moving off ball. That's barely cutting to the basket and helping each other out. That's why the assist numbers are so low, and that's why the offense just seems so stagnant, almost like a pickup game you'd see in the park.
Yeah, and I guess maybe a question that I can sort of throw out there, it's sort of an idea that I just had in mind, but it's something we can certainly talk about, is I kind of asked myself, was Syracuse really, in the last 5 minutes there, did they decide all of a sudden magically they want to play this game? Maybe, hey, we can kind of win this? Or do you think that, there was a lot of talk about this possibly being a trap game for UNC. They just played a couple big games on the road, one against Virginia, and they're playing their big game against Duke this weekend. I wonder if maybe there's somewhere in their minds they thought, like, okay, we're up. We're treating these guys like they're one of these, like, barely D1 schools. We're up 30. Maybe we can back off a bit, but maybe they just backed off too much, and they're like, oh my goodness, they could actually win. And maybe it was just kind of UNC got too much into their own heads or got too full of themselves. It's just a thought of mine, but it may be possible.
Yeah, that's the thing I keep coming back to, John. It's, we saw a really, really good run. I think in the end it was a 37-12
Something like that.
Something like that, which is one of the best we've seen this season against a conference opponent, probably the best. And my question is, where was that when you were down only 14 at halftime, John?
Yeah, and I think some points were made earlier where I saw that it wasn't until, we were in the last, quarter of the game, within 10 minutes to go, when Donnie Freeman got his first points in the second half after leading the team with 18. And, he was basically absent, and then J.J. Starling had to pick up for him. And again, it's just there's no team cohesion.
I agree, John. Thank you so much for your call. Adrian Autry always praises touts the level 5 energy. I think the 5 in level 5 might stand for last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, honestly, it really does.
Either the first 5 minutes or the last level 5 minutes of the game. That's the only time Syracuse can bring the energy. But Joe brings up a great point, right? Why couldn't Syracuse... You kind of saw these issues when they played a team like Northeastern early in the year, where they couldn't quite put them away. Even teams like Mercyhurst that were only down, I believe it was, a 12-point game or a game against Stonehill where they were only up by 12 at halftime. Mm-hmm. The writing was on the wall that they couldn't play a full 40 minutes. They almost blew it against Pitt. They almost blew it against Georgia Tech. They were up by 20 at one point. The level 5 energy, it's been harped on so many times in our airwaves on WAER Syracuse throughout the entirety of this season. I think that we finally figured it out, that the 5 in level 5 energy stands for 5 minutes.
It does.
5
and
minutes
it's the last
only.
5 minutes. It's
L5.
L5.
L5, last 5 minutes. That's when Syracuse brings it out. Because I will admit it, credit where it's due. That was pretty awesome to watch Syracuse drop nearly 40 points in 10 minutes.
I mean, as it was going on, the first couple of minutes when they brought it down to 15, I was like, okay, sure, but this doesn't change much. And in the end, I still don't think it changes all that much for my view of this team overall. Honestly, nothing. But when they cut it to 8 points, I turned to you. I said, "This is honestly impressive."
But I feel like they just keep doing this. They will get you to believe, like, don't do this, don't give me hope. Against Virginia Tech, that ended up being a 2-point game. They were down by like 10 with 30 seconds left. They just have like the end of game shenanigans, as I like to call it, the level 5 shenanigans. It's where it seems like they almost come back on accident. Against Clemson too, that ended up being a 3-point game. Donnie Freeman had a chance to tie it at the end, and it just doesn't come to fruition. Syracuse just has such great ways of getting you right back in it and then ripping your heart out. If you're a fan of this team, you got to be super frustrated. Just like our next caller, Wyatt from Danbury, you are on the line. Talk to us, Wyatt.
Gentlemen, how are we doing on this fine evening?
I can't complain, man, and unless you watch the Syracuse game, then my mood's a little ruined. What about you, Wyatt? How are you doing?
Oh, well, obviously it could be better. You made a great point earlier, just 2011. I mean, that's a long, long time ago, but that is the last time Cuse was relevant. And I know coaching, it's been tough. Haven't been able to find the right guy. And I know, Cuse at its best was known for the 2-3 zone under Boeheim. I know it was controversial. I know, everyone wants him out. Everyone wants his head. I want to give you another name that could potentially be good at replacing him. I know he's a little controversial, but he's known for defense. How about Bob Huggins? I know he's, he's in a little bit of trouble in the past, but Chris Beard still has a job.
Wow. Thank you for your call, Wyatt. Bob Huggins, the longtime West Virginia coach, no longer for plenty of reasons. Jesse Edwards transferred it to West Virginia, and then that didn't quite go so well. Thank you so much, Wyatt. Thanks for joining in the conversation. If you want to be like Wyatt, you got something to add to this team, to this game, rather, you can call in 315-443-2011. Interact with us on socials, too, at WAER Sports Talk. We got plenty of people pumping out content.
We love the socials.
We love the socials. Please, and we'll talk to you, too, if you want to interact with us that way. You don't want to get your voice in the air. That's fine. We still want to hear from you. We love you guys. Thank you for listening to this game. I'm really, honestly surprised with how much engagement we've had with a team that just does not warrant the engagement at this point whatsoever.
Yeah, honestly, I've been thinking about this. I mean, why would you call? Well, it's because you want to talk to us. But the effort on the court is just not there. And something that I want to mention is the pressure. We talked about the last 5 minutes. That's where, you don't see it every single game, but if they're going to turn it on, that's where they do it. Now, usually they're out of these games, Syracuse. But the pressure that puts on when you know that's the case for your team, and I don't know if they know this or not, but the pressure that puts on in the first half and then the start of the second half, both of which were probably the worst points of the game tonight for Syracuse, that's a lot of pressure, coaching-wise and player-wise. I don't know if what we saw tonight is necessarily a product of that pressure or just a skill/coaching issue, but thinking about that and going into these big games over the next few weeks, I got to think that might be on their minds.
That's a great thought experiment, a great question. I want you to hold on to that, Gabe, because, or rather, excuse me, before we go to break and go to our reporter, Augie Walters, down in UNC, we got one more caller. Angus from New Jersey, you're on the line. What do you got?
Yo!
How we doing, Angus?
So, I didn't catch the game. Did we win?
No, we did not. Thank you, Angus. We gotta send you on your way. Sorry about that. We got a reporter to get to. No hard feelings there, my friend. All right, yeah. So put a pin in that. Was the final score 87-77? North Carolina beat Syracuse. It was not that close. Augie Walters down in North Carolina, down in Chapel Hill. Our reporter today will tell us more about it on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere.
There is a one-stop listen for everything Syracuse athletics.
Syracuse men's lacrosse had arguably maybe Gary Gates' best weekend ever as head coach.
The Ostrom Avenue podcast provides unique opinions, plus exciting interviews from industry experts.
The voice of Syracuse men's lacrosse and Syracuse women's basketball as well. Tim Leonard, Javon Edmonds of Syracuse.com.
Check out weekly episodes and listen at WAER.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening. We hope you're enjoying this WAER sports broadcast. Our sports staff goes where the teams go, home and away, and prepare for days before each game broadcast. Our talk show and podcast hosts analyze games, pore over stats, and keep up on sports trends. These and many behind-the-scenes opportunities are made possible by listener donations. So if you're a fan or an alum, donate to keep our sports legacy strong at WAER.org and click donate.
Many immigrants in Minneapolis have stopped going to work out of fear of being detained by ICE. Now, a new fear is emerging, that they could lose their homes. We'll hear about the city's growing grassroots effort to help and how rental assistance hotlines are scrambling to keep up with the demand. That and more on the next morning edition from NPR News.
Tomorrow morning from 5 to 9 on WAER, your local NPR station from the Newhouse School at Syracuse University.
Syracuse breaks it over the timeline. Donnie Freeman loses it. Vasar pokes it free. Wilson in transition, spinning through the lane, up with the left hand. Magic as he gets it to go.
Welcome back to the Double Overtime. Gabe Perrin and Jessikolski with you on WAER after the 87-77 loss that Syracuse took to North Carolina. We got a reporter, Augie Walters, on the phone. Augie, I know it's a little snowy. Campus closed at UNC. Probably a little less still than here. How is it?
Guys, it's actually warm here compared to Syracuse. I mean, it was not as cold as I thought it was going to be. There was snow on the ground, and I guess that freaks everyone out down south here. But, I mean, it really wasn't that bad. I thought maybe the snow would help the Syracuse offense just in terms of vibes, but not really so much.
Yeah, I know that they're not very big on signs of the North down there in North Carolina, and snow is the biggest sign of the North. Donnie Freeman in Syracuse, big part of the North coming down. They lose 87-77. You got a question for me, Gabe, or Augie? Call in 315-443-2011. Now, Augie, I know one of the big things you noticed, and I noticed this too, but early on it seemed like UNC was kind of picking on Donnie on defense. He was kind of just like standing in front of Caleb Wilson and all those like great UNC bigs. What happened in your eyes? I mean, you got a better look than we did.
So, I mean, Donnie Freeman, he was guarding Caleb Wilson, like you mentioned, and that's just where North Carolina went with the basketball because they knew they had the matchup advantage every single time. And, I mean, Donnie Freeman was pretty much the only Syracuse player that could score in the first half, so you had to keep him in the game because he was the only guy that could put the ball in the basket, but he couldn't play any level of defense. UNC always had the first step when they were trying to go at Donnie Freeman, and it's just unfortunate because he is a really talented offensive player. He is by far the best offensive player on the team, but the defense just lacks, and he gets picked on. And especially when Coach Autry tries to use him at the 5, it is just a mismatch.
Yeah.
I mean, there is just – I mean, and that's not really on him. I mean, it kind of is, but I think it's more on just the overall roster construction and the recruiting and just the team that they have because when Akir Soare was in the game, as much as you laugh when you talk about it, he was – plus 17 in the plus minus. And, I mean, Akir Soare is not an offensive player, but it was just the fact he had size that he could use, and he used it, and it worked. And Donnie Freeman doesn't have that.
Okay, I want to continue on that Akir Soare line. I mean, we talked about it a bunch already, but this is by far the best game we've seen from him, not just from a point standpoint, but from creating offense overall. Like you mentioned, he just doesn't do a ton. What do you see for in the near future for him? Do you get any sign from Autry that he may start going with him on the floor a little more to get some kind of boost like we saw tonight?
And I heard you guys talking earlier about how Nate George was actually playing much better with Akir Soare on the floor. And, I mean, that's such an interesting thought. There was no conversation about Soare in the press conference. What Autry was really focused on was the fact that he doesn't think they move without the basketball. And he's completely right. They just don't pass like North Carolina passes. You could just see it watching the game. I mean, Vessar and Caleb Wilson, they find open shooters, and it generates offense. William Kyle, he's not doing that. When the ball gets inside, he's hesitating. There's a lot of hesitation, and there's no movement without the basketball. And so, therefore, the offense isn't clicking. I think for the first 32 minutes of this game, Syracuse had 2 assists as a team.
Sorry, Augie, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's alarming. It's an alarming stat because, like, there's just everything is off the dribble, and at some point, that's not going to work.
And I'm very alarmed. I must say that it is alarming, and I'm alarmed. It's really frustrating that in a class chock full of elite freshmen. This might be the best freshman class in history. Syracuse is stuck with guys like Cayenne, chuck it no matter what, and Hayden hit a shot I don't like, Anthony, and Sadiq, foul is his middle name, White. It just kind of sucks that that's the draw that Syracuse got there. But, I mean, and you need Nathan George with the Moss to his Menos if you read comic books out there. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't. You look at this team on paper, you can watch William Kyle highlights from the season. They're probably already 18 minutes long at least.
Looks great.
I don't know, why should it be this frustrating? Why do they not move without the ball? That's really been the theme of this conversation, I think. If you got a question for Augie, he was down in person, you can call us and in theory him as well, 315-443-2011. It's really, you were mentioning it, Augie, just a difference in front courts between these teams. I don't know what the strategy was to contain Caleb Wilson, but it didn't work. They just kept, I guess, fouling him. Hacka Caleb was the strategy, and he got to the line and shot a ton of free throws. I think 24 fouls today on the Orange. Did Autry talk a little bit after the game about discipline, anything of the sort?
No, and here's where I'm going to say something, and I really think Autry tried things in this game.
I agree.
He tried things. I mean, they were down 32, and he still coached, and I think you do have to get him credit for that. He tried different lineups. I mean, Donnie Freeman was in and out of this ball game. He was subbing in and out so frequently because you have to, because he'll have this stretch where he goes and scores 5 points in a row, but then he surrenders 8, and all of a sudden you got to take him out of the game because they're just picking on him. But then no one can score the basketball, so you got to bring him back in. He went to zone multiple times to try and change things up. It worked a little bit. He was bringing Akir Soare in, like we talked about. Coach Autry, giving him the benefit of the doubt, he tried things in this game, and it started to click at the end of the game as as much as this was not a 10-point game, it did end up as a 10-point game, which you do have to think about that at the end of the day. He did not really talk about the fouling and the physicality. He really just said we have to be consistent in what we're trying to do. He said that over and over again 3 consecutive times, which
that sounds pretty consistent.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that is, but he did say that.
Consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, and they are consistently inconsistent.
I'd say
so. And one thing that I really have to talk about being consistently inconsistent is William Kyle on offense. And this game, he looked lost. He missed 2 free throws early on, and they were bad misses. And this is a really big arena, 23,000 people it holds, and it was loud when he missed them. And you could tell he was embarrassed, and then he, just gave up.
Yeah.
He just didn't shoot the ball. He had 10 points and 8 rebounds against Notre Dame. When he's under the rim, that's a good high percentage shot that he makes a lot of the time, and he was just scared to shoot. Coming out of halftime, the teams were shooting, and William Kyle was just rebounding for everyone on the Orange. He didn't take any shots.
He's like being
rebounded. Yeah, he rebounded and passed out to Calvin Russell. I was like, what's going on here?
Of course.
I was like, what?
My favorite basketball player.
That's the next big change.
Yeah,
Calvin Russell.
He should be in the starting lineup, right?
Well, I thought he was
Why not?
playing. I thought he was going to be playing a lot today, but I guess that didn't happen because Syracuse went back.
Sure.
But the reality is, with Donnie Freeman as kind of volatile as he is, it is hard to create lineups for this team, and it is a recruiting problem because Donnie Freeman has to play the 4. He cannot play the 5. And when you're forced to put him at the 5, the defense is going to suffer every single time.
And it's probably fair to say that throughout this season, you haven't seen a ton of those really big changes from Autry. But what we have seen in the past 2 games is some big changes. First of all, on Saturday against Notre Dame, Donnie Freeman not starting, Sadiq White in the starting lineup, and then Akir Soare going in, really filling out that offense, starting 2 different runs in 2 different halves.
You know what? I'm going to go out and say it. I think he should have benched Freeman again. I do.
Really?
I 100% do, because I think that Donnie Freeman has become easy to scout. After the Virginia Tech game, the coach didn't mince any words. He said, if we stop Freeman from going to his right hand and know that he can shoot, then he's out of the game. He had his worst offensive game there. And, he's going to get you buckets. He has that sort of gravity, but teams know how to stop him. And like you said, Augie, he's not providing much defensively. When they go into the 2-3 zone, it's really telling that they have Donnie Freeman, a guy with maybe a 7'5" wingspan, out on the wing. They don't trust him defensively because he's just kind of slow-footed. He's so long and he has the potential to be a great defender, but I don't know what's not clicking there. The footwork, the timing of shot blocking, just not putting his hands up and using his length. There's so many things wrong that I think that might as well just let Sadiq White, take the leash off, let him burn his fouls early, and then bring in Donnie when the team figures out how to move the ball without him, like they did against Notre Dame.
The point you made about Coach Young of Virginia Tech is 100% correct. He told everyone that Donnie Freeman can't use his left hand. And he is 100% right. Now every team in the ACC, if they didn't already know that, which they probably already did, but if they didn't already know that, now knows that and plays that to their advantage. And, he was so just he just said whatever he wanted to say in that press conference, and it kind of hurt the Orange because he told the rest of the country how they game planned, and it's been working. But what I'm going to say with Donnie Freeman and Sadiq White is that I don't even think there's a right answer at this point in time. I really don't. I really don't think there's
it's
a right answer.
It might be.
Plus 17 Akir Soare,
the only thing is you can only get 10 minutes from him. Is the conditioning off? There's something wrong with each of these power forwards.
But the thing with Donnie Freeman is again, he doesn't start against Notre Dame and it works, right? And then he does start against North Carolina, and it doesn't really work, but then it kind of works because it's just there's two sides of the court, and it's just so different on both sides of the court. And you guys, I'm sure you guys can see that watching on TV as well. It is just 2 different players that you're getting out of him, and it just makes it really hard to build lineups around.
I just don't think he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. but he's not good enough to be used the way he is used right now as the hero of the team. Let him find the mismatch and go to work. I feel like most of his points in the first half was because there was a good switch, and this was, I guess, the best movement that Syracuse did was just, get Donnie onto Trimble and let him back him down and take a shot there. That was really the times when Donnie Freeman could dominate, when he got Caleb Wilson off of him, when he got the other bigs for North Carolina off of him. He had to have a favorable matchup, and then the possession kind of lived and died with Donnie Freeman. To have that sort of usage and gravity on the team without having as much of a skill set to back it up, I mean, you said it. I don't know how many lineups you can really build around that, Gabe.
No, and that's what you see with just the lack of ball movement. I mean, literally, like you mentioned, the only time that Donnie can score is when he's basically alone or in a big mismatch. And that's honestly the case for the rest of the front court and a lot of, kind of the whole team, honestly. And even when they're open, the shots just really aren't falling. Talking to you on the double overtime, Gabe Perrin, Jish Tukolsky, and Augie Walters down in Chapel Hill. We're in Syracuse, Gabe and Jish.
Worst place.
Yeah, it's a bit colder here. I'm sure.
In terms of weather, it's a great place. I love it here.
It is a wonderful
place.
Of weather-wise. If you want to join in on the conversation, give us a call, 315-443-2011. You can also tweet at us or X-post at us, whatever they're calling it these days, at WAER Sports Talk. I'm not up to it. I'm not even on my phone.
I'm on my phone right now. I'm interacting with
mine's in my
WAER
pocket.
Sports Talk.
I'm focused on this.
Oh.
But let's get back to the game. Is there anything that, because from what I've seen in Adrian Autry press conferences is that there's not really much of an answer. It's just, we have to do better. Better job moving the ball, better job shooting, better job switching on defense. Was there any kind of answer that he had specifically after this game, Augie?
No, it's very vague answers, and I think that he's not giving specifics. And what I think the specific thing that he has to do is like we mentioned, he just has to keep trying things. He has to keep doing different things because what he's doing isn't working. But when you start maybe confusing teams or putting a lineup out there that's something that maybe a team hasn't prepared for, I think maybe that's something that could help. You guys mentioned Sadiq White. The soiree game today, I guess, but you have to do different things because what he's doing right now isn't working. And I know he's trying. I will give him credit for trying, but at the end of the day, you just need to look yourself in the mirror and you just have to keep putting your head down. You have to keep preparing at a high level. You have to keep treating this like a season where every game matters, and you have to keep trying different things because people are bought in, people are invested, and people care about this.
Well, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again. So, I mean,
it sure is.
There's
really
only
is.
so many changes you can make, and I don't think.
Right.
I mean, I guess we could see more, but I'm not sure what else you even can do.
And even the changes that Adrian Autry makes, it's like those before and after photos where they don't do anything except paint the guy red, or they make him just stand back, do nothing but step back. Because you go to the 2-3 zone. Back in the day, that was the staple of Syracuse. That was what Syracuse was feared for and known for. Now you run to the 2-3 zone because the guys are tired and they can't run in transition anymore.
And also
save them.
the 2-3 zone. I mean, just throw that out for this team. The wingspans aren't long enough. They're not fast enough.
They don't get the instincts.
No. This isn't a zone team.
The zone's always it's really funny when they implement it, actually, this team, because it's
it honestly is.
It's very random. It just kind of happens, and then it stops, and then it'll happen again. It doesn't really seem like there's a method to the madness with the zones.
I truly think it's just because the guys get tired and they can't guard man-on-man anymore. Just give the guys off the ball on the other side of the court. Just let them put their hands in their head and catch their breath.
Honestly, that has to be it, because I've been trying to identify a reason why they go to the zone all year, and I've got nothing strategically besides that. I mean, it's not to stop runs. It's not to start a run. I don't know what it is. I'm out of
they're
answers.
drinking Coke. The Coke doesn't taste good, so they sip the Pepsi. Oh, the Pepsi doesn't taste good. They drink the Coke. It's the same level of rationale. They just keep going back and forth for no reason, it seems like.
And it's the same result almost every time, too.
And it is. And it's because other teams can pass. And if another team goes to zone against Syracuse, they struggle to move the ball quickly. And Coach Autry is correct when he says the team's not moving with pace. They're not moving quickly. They're not. Things take way too long to develop on the offensive end. Whereas North Carolina, they're thinking 3 passes ahead before they've even made the first pass. And you can see that. You can see that when watching the game. But with Syracuse, it's like Donnie Freeman has to dribble, or J.J. Starling has to dribble, and then there has to be an 8-second level of confusion of what's going to happen, how are we going to finish off this offensive possession, and then something maybe comes out of that, maybe doesn't. North Carolina's getting shots up with 15 seconds on the shot clock, 12 seconds on the shot clock. Syracuse, it's always 5 seconds left. It's always 3 seconds left, and it's not a winning strategy.
Well, I know there are it's pretty scary down there. The conditions are very snowy, Augie. Appreciate you taking time and braving the elements of 2-inch snow down in Chapel Hill to come talk with us. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, making your on-air debut for WAER. Very proud of you. Thank you so much for hopping on. Any final thoughts before we we cut you loose?
Hey, thank you guys for having me. My final thought is that when I walked into this arena, it is like there is just a level of excitement that comes with basketball at North Carolina that I know Syracuse used to have, and I know Syracuse does not have it anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that here? Because
it is not. It is
not quite feeling that in the 315.
What is this
there's
E
not,
word?
There's not a vibe. There's not a vibe that you get when you walk into the Dome anymore, and you have it here. It is 100% here. You can feel it when you walk in.
Well, thank you, Augie. Have a lovely, safe trip home. Thank you for being there for us and talking to us, and have a good one. Just, do you know what time it is when we come back? No, not on the clock, but what time it is in the show.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Hey, Pro Bowler, Shador Sanders. But this is a basketball show. It's not football. It's time to go over the past 3 years of the Adrian Autry era and see what was the most frustrating loss and how it compares to tonight. We'll do that when we come back right here on WAER.
11% of WAER's yearly funding came from federal funds. That's $175,000, and that funding is now gone. We cannot wait for you to step forward and become a member. Start a monthly donation or add a few dollars to your monthly gift. Now is the time as public media funding navigates an uncertain future. Support from you is crucial. Join us during our coalition campaign to raise back what we've lost. Give now at WAER.org.
Do you want something new and different to listen to? Try Top of the World on WAER with your hosts, Mark Bostic and Connie Whaler. You can hear popular contemporary music from all over the world, such as Afrobeat, salsa, bossa nova, ska, and garifuna. Sundays from 8 to 11 p.m.
Many immigrants in Minneapolis have stopped going to work out of fear of being detained by ICE. Now, a new fear is emerging, that they could lose their homes. We'll hear about the city's growing grassroots effort to help and how rental assistance hotlines are scrambling to keep up with the demand. That and more on the next morning edition from NPR News.
Tomorrow morning from 5 to 9 on WAER, your local NPR station from the Newhouse School at Syracuse University.
From way out, he calls for a screen. Soiree sets it. George down the right alley. Throws it up for Soiree, who cashes in on the layup from the far side.
Just over half an hour left on the double overtime, breaking down a 87-77 loss that Syracuse men's basketball sustained to the number 14 team in the land, North Carolina. Alongside Gabe Perrin, I'm Josh Sokolsky. I want to start off this segment by reading a tweet from Carmelo Anthony saying just 4 letters, SMFH, shaking my explicitive head. But does he realize that this is not a new struggle for Syracuse, and that actually in the past 3 years, Syracuse has had frustrating, culture-defining losses under Adrian Autry. We're going to break them all down. If you want to join the conversation and talk about some of your least favorite losses, we're all here to commiserate. We're all in this together, so please call in 315-443-2011. No high school musical reference intended there. I know our engineer Griffin Bloomstein's going crazy about that. We'll hear from him a little later, but I kind of want to compare this, Gabe, to some of the more frustrating games of the past few years. This ended up kind of being an okay loss, but we were talking when it was a 32-point game with 10 minutes left, this being maybe the most frustrating loss under Adrian Autry. Let's pump the brakes because there was still that Iowa State game earlier this year. That's the first one I want to get into.
That's probably the most frustrating one this year. I mean, it's close. We'll get into Hofstra a little bit later, but this one is Iowa State was so frustrating because at the halftime, you were down by 1 to really good ranked Iowa State team.
They were undefeated for a long time, too.
And then the final score was 95-64.
What?
What happened there? You outscored by 30. Outscored 60-30 in the second half. They doubled your points in the second half. Plus, it was on the national stage. Was that a game where our guy Spiro Ditas was on the call?
Yes, it was.
Kyan Anthony. William Kyle.
Nathan George. 7 turnovers in that one. That's my Spiro Ditas impression.
And that makes it even worse
but
that it was on national TV.
Yeah, it was definitely national embarrassment. And to me, this was kind of like the beginning of the end for Nate George in my eyes.
Yeah.
He just has not played good basketball, plain and simple, over the last 4 games. He had 5 points. 6 assists, 7 turnovers. That's the 5-6-7 combo. He just that was, I think, the telltale sign that maybe he isn't as good as we thought. And he really did virtually nothing in that second half. Nobody did anything. I mean, 60 second-half points for Iowa State. I don't care how good they are. They're playing like they still had Tyrese Halliburton on the team. That's how good they were playing. Just a magnet ball. Almost looking like the Pacers in the playoffs this past season.
Hey, no more fan service. No more fan service.
What are you talking about, man? I'm just calling it like I see it. 45% for 3 in that game. That was really frustrating. How does this game compare? I don't think it's that bad, but I can't get over 7 assists. That still just sticks in my mind. And what would you rather? Would you rather a team score 60 points in you and a half, or you only have 7 assists in a whole game?
I mean, the number 7 being there in a team column on the stat sheet is really, it's almost shocking. Like, it's taking me aback. I mean, I saw at halftime, I saw 2 assists. I'm like, okay, that's pretty bad. And then you go 12 minutes in the second half, and then it's just 3. And sure, you add 4 at the end. But, with that number, that's so embarrassing that this has to be worse than Iowa State. And I know Iowa State hurt, and I did just say it was the worst, but I'm switching courses because it's just such an abysmal offensive effort. It's such a lack of movement. It's so stagnant that it's almost funny at this point.
And at that point of the season, there was still a little bit of hope. Like, okay, you lose 3 in Vegas, yeah, that stinks. But there's still plenty of season left to play. So
but
there was
those
still
first 2 games were close.
Yeah, there was some optimism. And Syracuse did make it, I guess, closer in this one. Maybe made it seem like it wasn't that bad. But make no mistake about it. How about the first time we really thought the season was over? In the Hofstra game, it was only a 1-point loss, and this Hofstra team actually ended up being good. So it ended up not really ending the season, but oh boy, the vibes where it was, it's same old. Syracuse is missing the tournament again. I can't believe that's same old now. It's been 5 years. But that was really frustrating at the end because there might have been that missed call on Kyan Anthony, but would he have even made the free throws? Who knows?
At that point in the season, no. And even at this point in the season, if they played that again, probably still no.
Yeah, I do think that he did get fouled there. Whatever. Maybe it makes the season look a little better.
But you shouldn't have been there in the first place.
It should not have been
you shouldn't have to drive to the basket with as time expires against Hofstra.
Right. And I want to kind of just zip through the last 3 games before Notre Dame. There really wasn't a semblance of hope. That capped off by a 20-point loss to NC State. The Boston College loss, I think, was really when, everyone started doing the 1,000-yard stare and realized, that's it for the season. Because you can't lose to Boston College and then expect to get an at-large bid in the tournament. But I think the fan base was still thinking, we can maybe win out. We can win out and win the ACC tournament. NC State did it a couple of years ago. I don't think there's anybody in the fan base right now that would be saying that.
It is not possible. It cannot happen. And speaking of NC State, that's one I want to bring up because it's almost like seeing your ex out at the store.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it kind of is because you got Quadir Copeland. Just jawing in your face the entire game, especially JJ.
Uh-huh.
That was rough to see. and then you add on a loss by 20. Yes, NC State's a pretty solid team. And no, I didn't expect for Syracuse to win that game. But that, after those previous 3 losses, that just made that game so much worse.
Career high 4 steals for Quadir Copeland.
Yeah.
You got Judah Mintz and all his former teammates, cheering for him on social media, him in a Syracuse uniform saying, "Why did we let you go?"
Yep.
It all speaks for itself. And you might think we're being cynical because, we don't really have a lot of nice things to say. Even after a 10-point loss to North Carolina, if you want to give your thoughts on that game, we're still talking about it. Don't worry.
Still a loss.
315-443-2011. But the reason we're so cynical is because it just doesn't seem like there has been any improvement over the past couple of years, because this isn't the only year that there's been embarrassing losses. In fact, this might be the most tame year when it comes to losses that just smack you across the face. Look no further than last season, Gabe, when you lose by 26 to Tennessee, 96-70 game. The Maryland game where you scored 17 points in the first half, 87-60 loss in that one. We're primed for this at this point.
Yeah.
This is Syracuse basketball. We can't even sit here and complain and capitulate and what have you. This is the program now.
And that's
it's a bunch of losers.
That's so funny and at the same time pretty sad to say, because you'll go back a decade ago, and we had a caller call in and talk about this a little bit earlier. It's the complete opposite, because you had the 2-3 zone back then, and that was so unique. When you play a game out of conference back then, you usually dominate. That's why those teams in the late 2000s and early 2010s had so much tournament success, is because they were playing a bunch of Big Ten, Pac-12, Big 12, whatever teams it is, a bunch of non-conference teams that rarely, if ever, see a 2-3 zone. And you almost dominated almost every single non-conference game.
It was like a 5-man rotation. You could go to war with 5 guys. I mean, bloodied and long gone are the days of Marek Dolezaj.
Oh my!
Battered and bloodied to help Syracuse win a gritty game over NC State or what have you. You just don't get those gritty games anymore.
No.
You don't. Go back last year to the Duke game, an 83-54 loss to Cooper Flag and Company. The UNC game from 2 years ago, where they got 103 dropped on their head. Not the one where Syracuse won, which seems like a miracle at this point. Adrian Autry has 2 ranked wins in 3 seasons as head coach.
It's honestly not shocking.
It really isn't. We were talking a little bit about Quadir Copeland in the revenge game earlier. We got Colin from Syracuse on the line who wants to talk a little bit more about Quadir Copeland.
Hey, guys. Good evening. Hey, tough loss, tough season.
Yep.
We're all feeling the pain, man. But I do have to defend the coaching staff on the whole Quadir thing.
Go ahead.
No one knows what really happens, guys. What really happened under the scenes. He went down to McNeese State, where Will Wade was the coach. So he kind of did get demoted. No one really wanted him in Division I. And the reason he got back to NC State is because Will Wade brought him there.
Right.
So I do have to defend the coaching staff on that a little bit. Everyone's like, oh, man, Syracuse. And he did kind of whip our butts, which that's what he's supposed to do, okay? But I think you're overstating the Quadir Copeland thing a little bit, and I know we're all hurting and everything, but, I mean, that's just what I want to say tonight.
Sure, yeah, and I think there is a lot more than meets the eye there. There was definitely things that were going on behind the scenes. I'm not saying that it was a conceited effort to say we want this talented guy off our team. There might have been some, I don't want to speculate too much, but there could have been, okay, thank you so much, Colin, for your call. There could have been some academic things. There could have been other things that went on behind the scenes. Maybe it just wasn't a good fit. But that doesn't change the fact that Syracuse saw him again the next time they saw him, that he dropped 20 on them. There was something that just meant a little bit more about that. And honestly, I don't think it numbs the pain really anymore, the fact that we don't know the full story, you know?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, none of this is anything against Quadir Copeland. He's an incredible player, as he's proven this entire season, and even in his time at Syracuse and McNeese State. He's a very talented player. But the fact that he played so well against Syracuse was so emblematic of what where this program is at this moment.
Yeah, we saw in that game Syracuse couldn't defend Quadir Copeland. They couldn't get anything done on offense. That's just been a theme of the season. We've got yet another caller all the way from West Virginia. Chase, you want to talk about the Syracuse offense? Breathe some life into the show. What do you got?
Well, hard to bring life into the show when there's no life in the offense, fellas. I mean, Red Autry hasn't run a set since he was playing for Syracuse basketball in 1994. Good gracious, Jim Boeheim should probably be rolling it. Oh, he's still with us. He should be rolling over. This is unbelievable offense.
It really, we can't say it enough how bad the offense has been. Thank you so much for your call, Chase. There's just no inspiration. There's no vision. There's no mindset. There's no passion in this basketball club. If you want to be like Chase, call in, commiserate, say whatever you got to say, let it all out. We are your diary. If you want to broadcast to a bunch of fans listening to us on WAER, 315-443-2011. Tell us what you really feel about this Syracuse team. We want to hear it all night long, well, at least until 11 p.m. That's when we're off the airwaves. Gabe Parrott and Josh Sokolsky with you here on the Double Overtime. It goes back. I think that Adrian Autry, kind of to summate the points of the last two callers, I think that he does kind of get an unfair rap a little bit. He just has to be the outward-facing voice of a team that clearly has so many more things wrong with it. Like, I don't think you can just put everything solely on Adrian Autry. I think there's something wrong with the culture of this team. And it's not just like as soon as Autry got here, the sky started falling. It's very convenient. It's very easy to scapegoat him at this point because, yes, the offense is not playing well. The players are uninspired. The discipline has been bad. 24 fouls tonight. You can easily put that on one person, but I think it really does go deeper than that. And I would not envy being in Adrian Autry's position at all.
No, not at all. I really don't envy anyone in charge of anything athletic Syracuse-wise because at least from a basketball program standpoint, Syracuse is a very traditional program. It doesn't seem like Syracuse loves the NIL thing. It doesn't seem, they did a pretty good job in the transfer portal, but you need to adapt to the modern college basketball game.
Right.
And it seems like they're not targeting guys in the portal that are actually going to gel well together. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's a bunch of recruits that are good on their own, bunch of transfers that are good on their own. You put them together, not much is happening.
Well, I do want to counter that because you see it when you bring in guys like Nate George and Akira Soiree together.
Yeah.
Because they bring out the best in each other. And I think if that's kind of what the direction that Syracuse needs to go. You have to see the success in that. Count your wins, right? The small things.
Absolutely.
You got to break in. You got to break through.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Syracuse, I think, has to, target more synergies, more players that will work well together, not just the people that will, that are within the price range. I know Jim Boeheim said a couple of weeks ago that Syracuse ought to spend $10 million on the basketball program. Tuition's already expensive enough. I don't even know if that's necessarily the case, but there are so many success stories. I mean, look at St. Bonaventure, for instance. They brought in this D3 wizard who's absolutely killing it for the Bonnies within the state lines. It's all about finding the right fit. And Syracuse kind of did that. Like, I think last year was the trial run when you're bringing guys like Eddie Lampkin and too tiny Jaquan Carlos to pair up with Chris Bell. It just didn't work. And this year, I think there was a more concerted effort to bring in the guys who have the experience at the highest level. Nate Kings from Oregon State, William Kyle at UCLA, not necessarily banking on the mid-major guys per se. But I think you need to find the guys that will work well together, like your Nate Georges and Akira Soiree, who, again, as we said earlier in the show, Nate George, I believe 13 of his points and 3 of his 4 assists came when his best friend, the Moss to his Menace, the Robin to his Batman, was on the floor in Akira Soiree.
Well, that's the thing that, and despite how cynical and critical we have been so far, it's the thing that gives me a little bit of hope, I guess just for the rest of the season. Not that much is going to come postseason-wise from it, but the fact that over the past 2 games, we've seen Adrian Autry make some switches to the lineup. And it's not that those synergies don't exist at all. It's just that we have not seen them on the court yet. Maybe they're there in practice. Maybe, they're buried somewhere. But it may be a situation like with Nathan George and Akira Soiree that you might just need to put them out there and see what works. And I am not against doing that at all at this point in the season. You're out of NCAA tournament contention. I mean, I guess you want to make the ACC tournament. That would be fine. But I don't think this team does much there. So what I would like to see is Adrian Autry just try anything. Why not?
It's about. I really think it's about getting players that are on the same page. I think we only saw one off-ball cut to the basket today. Like what? I'm not even exaggerating. It was a Kai and Anthony
in 40 minutes of basketball.
4-0. I probably cut more in our intramural game that we lost by.
Yeah.
We actually won that game, but
technically
won that game. That's neither here nor there. It was a Kai and Anthony cut down the baseline. JJ Starling found him a little bit too late. But where is that? The drive and kick, the drive and cut and find a cutter down low. They aren't trying to exploit defense's weaknesses because they can't necessarily find their strength on offense together. And that's where I'll leave it. We've been very negative. We've been very cynical, but we're going to have a little bit of fun when we get back. I hope you guys like Family Feud. You ever hear that really popular game show?
I'm not sure I've heard of it.
It's a really good one, hosted by Steve Harvey. We're going to play our own little version of it. We surveyed a bunch of Syracuse fans and got some top answers for a couple of questions about the Syracuse team. Let's have a little bit of fun when we return on the double overtime in just a couple minutes.
The Ostrom Avenue Podcast, breaking down Syracuse athletics.
The students rush the field. The Orange are bowl eligible and 6-0 for just the third time in the last 87 years.
And interviewing the industry's experts.
We are now joined by a very special guest. It's Emily Leiker of Syracuse.com.
Check out video interviews on YouTube at Ostrom Avenue Podcast and weekly episodes on WAER.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening. We hope you're enjoying this WAER sports broadcast. Our sports staff goes where the teams go, home and away, and prepare for days before each game broadcast. Our talk show and podcast hosts analyze games, pore over stats, and keep up on sports trends. These and many behind-the-scenes opportunities are made possible by listener donations. So if you're a fan or an alum, donate to keep our sports legacy strong at WAER.org and click donate.
Wilson skies for the rebound. Evans pushing the pace, skip pass far side. Bogovats a triple. It's good. Luka Bogovats knocks down a four-wing triple.
Welcome back to the double overtime. It's time for Family Feud. I'm your host, Griffin Bloomstein. All right, we got a fun one in store. Jish, Gabe. It's going to be a fun game of Family Feud. Are you guys excited?
I'm so excited. I mean, I've been waiting my entire life to be on Family Feud. I'm finally on it.
Oh, my goodness.
No, I wish I could be as cool as Steve Harvey. You know, there's some kind of like aura that he has that I don't think I can quite match, but
you're missing the stash.
And the bow tie.
And the bald head.
Oh.
Yeah, that too.
You can chance that. That's free will right there.
All right, so we got 3 questions for you. We have a list of surveyed answers across the Syracuse area. The first question, and I'll be kind. I won't let you guys buzz in because
we're on the same team.
Yeah. You're on the sure. Yeah, you guys are working together.
Let's get max points here.
All right.
We got
the
this.
First question. What is the biggest problem with Syracuse men's basketball? There are 3 answers.
All right. Okay.
I know one of them.
Buzz in. Buzz.
I'm buzzing.
All right. I heard Jish first.
All right. Biggest problem. I'll just go general. The offense.
Bing, bing.
Hey.
I'll give it to you with 2 votes in second place.
Okay.
Offensive identity.
Okay. All right. We're on the board. All right. Okay.
You guys are looking for 2 other answers.
I have an idea.
Okay. So I've got something. I don't know if it's included in that, but I'm gonna buzz in anyways.
All right, Gabe. All you.
Let me give you ball movement.
1X.
I think we're missing the obvious one here, Gabe. I got one.
All right. Back to you, Jish.
I bet you if you asked a bunch of people in the Syracuse area, they're going to tell you it's coaching.
Ding, ding, ding. Adrian Autry was the most surveyed answer in coaching.
Oh, Lord.
With 11 votes. Wow.
That's fair.
You guys have 1 strike. You have 2 strikes left, and there's only 1 answer remaining.
I can't go for 2, but I'm fairly confident.
All right.
Go ahead.
Buzzing in. Bzz. Free throws.
Wow, no, that was a good guess,
I mean,
though.
it is.
That's a good
If you
guess.
surveyed me, you'd have a point there.
Oh.
That is true. But we did not survey you.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair. That would not be fair, Gabe,
All
because
right.
then you would have known the answer.
I would have known one answer. I would have known
That
one
would've-
point.
Yeah, but that's one of three.
You're down to your final strike. And luckily for you guys, nobody can steal it from you.
That's
All
good.
right, all right. Well, we're still gonna put up the X.
Oh, you'll put up the X's. All right.
We're stealing it from ourselves.
You guys, I'll give you
Yeah, I guess
guys
so.
one last guess. You're with one strike. What's the biggest problem with Syracuse men's basketball?
Jeez, and this is probably just like a one voter too.
It is a one voter.
Oh,
That's a
man.
good guess.
Man.
Who wants to be different?
Yeah, right.
I wonder.
And what would they say?
If I wanted to be different, what would I say about Syracuse basketball?
Oh.
You guys are getting close to the time limit.
Oh shoot.
5.
Ding 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 ding.
All right, we got a buzz.
All right. We said offense. We said coaching. Someone's probably just said defense, right? Oh.
Is it rebounding?
The last spot. No, it's not rebounding. Number 3, player consistency.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
Oh.
That is pretty different. I wonder
mean,
who
I
said that one.
guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Who is the best player on Syracuse men's basketball? There are 4 answers for this one. So we have someone waiting to buzz in. And we got a
Buzzing in.
buzz. Gabe.
Donnie Freeman.
Ding, ding, ding. Number 1 on the list with 14
Wow.
of the
Thank
18
you.
votes.
Thank you, everybody.
Donnie Freeman.
All right.
All
I'm
right.
buzzing in for the second one.
All right, Jish, what you got?
William Kyle.
Ding, ding, ding.
All
Number
right.
2 with
Let's
2
go.
votes.
Let's go. We're on a roll now.
okay.
We're hitting.
All right, so you guys need 3 and 4 with 0 strikes. So you guys are in a good position.
Buzzing.
All right,
Go
Gabe.
ahead.
JJ Starling?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
That was
He's
a
number
little risky.
4. Well, I guess tied for 3rd with the other player who I
Okay.
almost named you, but I didn't. I restrained myself.
Mm.
All right, no strikes. You guys could go 4 for 4.
Let's go for the
Wendy's.
sweep.
Don't.
I know
jinx
that.
it.
I know that makes you think harder, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
The Wendy's.
There's, they got, underrated baked potatoes there.
I've never tried that.
Oh, come on. One day.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Time's winding down.
Speaking of baked potatoes, ding 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 ding. There's nothing to do with baked potatoes in this player. I don't know why I said that. Nate Kings.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh,
Yes.
bang! Air 5.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, wow. My
This
name
is
is
really
Jish.
good.
Okay, let's go. Last
This
one.
is
All right,
really
4 for
good.
4 on that one. Last question. What thing does this team do best?
I like this.
There are
Let's be a little positive.
8 options.
8. Oh, boy.
This is going to be tough.
I don't think I can come up with 8 things that
And let me just
Syracuse
say,
does in general.
These might be hard.
Oh.
Are there some weird ones?
There's one weird one.
One weird one.
All right. Ding 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 ding.
Sure, Jish.
Blocking shots.
Blocks. Ding, ding, ding.
Boom.
The
boom.
number 1 answer.
Okay,
with 3
okay.
votes.
I'm dancing.
There's
I'm
7
dancing.
answers left.
Come
no
on now.
strikes yet.
Oh, man.
Things this team does best.
I'll admit it. It's a little
It's
hard
hard.
to think of those because, I guess there is 8 according to our survey.
Oh, you know what? I got another. Ding 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 ding.
All right, back to you, Jish.
I'm gonna go like with lobs / dunking.
Alley-oops.
All right.
Tied
All
for
right.
second
Okay.
All
with
right.
2 votes.
Dude,
All right. You're 2 for 2, no strikes, 6 options remaining.
Okay.
I wish like homework and tests were this easy.
Yeah, if it was all about Syracuse basketball, man, 4.0.
A+ student, summa cum laude.
Oh.
You can't think.
I'm
of,
actually struggling.
You can't think of anything.
I'm
can
actually
you?
struggling.
All right.
That's how bad it is.
Okay. Ding 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 ding.
Jish.
Transition offense. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
That's
I
your
had
one
to-
strike. I will give you a hint. Some of these. The question. I'll reread the question. What thing does this team do best?
What thing does this team do best? Oh, ding 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 ding.
Jish.
Disappoint.
Disappointment. Tied for
man.
second with 2 votes.
Wow. People are mean, man. Wow. I'm thinking, oh wow, we'll end at a high note. What does this thing team do
Oh,
best?
man.
A bad thing?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
jeez. Man, wow.
What?
Not our words, by the way.
No,
not
that's
our
the
words.
survey.
Yeah.
Survey says.
Don't put that on us.
Central New York.
Oh my lord.
Okay.
All right. So you guys have 1 strike. You have 5 options remaining.
Jeez, really.
This is tough.
This is tough.
Along the same line, let's go with getting to the game, as in traveling to the game? Oh, okay. Well,
2 strikes.
they have gotten to all of the games.
I think they've showed up to every single game.
They have played every game.
Except for the Iowa State game. They didn't play that one.
No, not really.
Yeah, I mean, well, they played the first half. They didn't play the second half.
No.
All right, 5 remaining. You have 2 strikes now, so
okay.
Gotta be perfect.
Ding, ding, ding. Recruiting?
No. I thought you guys would. And that's 3 strikes, by the way.
Dang.
I thought you guys would kind of follow the disappointment angle.
We're just positive guys. We're happy.
We try to keep the vibes up over here.
And,
Okay.
and Central New York did not agree with you.
Okay.
Lose
Okay.
was up there.
Come on.
Miss free throws.
Jeez, that's not something they do well. That is something they do poorly.
Okay, well, if your goal is to miss the free throws, they're
That's
actually
never
pretty good
your
at
goal.
it.
Your
but
goal-
if it is,
the goal in sports is to score more points than the other team.
well,
Just
not
that was-
if you're like Chauncey Billups.
And that was not the question. The question is, what thing does this team do best?
Not like Terry Rozier.
All right, guys. I'll let you have your fun. You know, the other options, beat Delaware State was one.
That's okay. That
Okay,
is something
they
they
did do pretty good at that.
They were really good at that.
Playing Tennessee, another.
Okay, sure.
I guess so.
And the final one was lose to Hofstra.
Why?
The folks we surveyed in this area
the survey
really take it
give
and ran
the
with it.
survey take it away.
I think we need to set some parameters for the survey next time. Like, it's got to be something that's reasonable.
Yeah, what?
Don't look at me. I'm just your host, Griffin Bloomstein.
Ah, I see what you did.
WAER feud back at it again.
That was our third host of the game, Griffin Bloomstein. Griffin is also the engineer of this double overtime, keeping us on the air for the next 10 minutes. Hopefully, I hope we didn't mess you up there, Griff.
We'll see.
Thank you so much for hosting our game of WAER Family Feud. Always a good thing to reset the vibes and still have a good time and realize that some things are just not, the sky isn't falling. Even though number 14 North Carolina beat Syracuse 87-77. You only have a couple more minutes if you want just one final thought to say to us on the air. We have 10 more minutes with you. 315-443-2011, the number to call. But if you're done for the night, I don't blame you. You can still interact with our posts on social media. They don't go away. That's what my mom tells me. You post something, it doesn't go away. So
It's
you
true.
can interact with us till the rest of the time. Although if I see a notification from you in 3 months about how I said something on this double overtime, I might look at you sideways. We got 10 minutes left. It's time for our final words of this wretched ball game, Gabe.
It was wretched.
I'll let you go. I'll let you go first for this.
Yeah.
I know Syracuse. They almost came back in those last 10 minutes, but I know you weren't really moved.
Yeah, you have to want to win the game. And when I say that, I mean you have to want to win the game for all 40 minutes. Now, obviously, they want to win the game. Any team wants to win the game, unless you don't. But most teams do. However, what we saw tonight was not a team wanting to win for all 40 minutes. We saw that maybe in the last 5 minutes, but the first 35, nothing like that. And specifically, the start of the first half and the start of the second half. And when this team knows that, maybe the only time we can play well is the first 5 minutes, then the pressure is on for the whole entire rest of the game. This team, if they want to be a team that wins, well, you're going to have to want to win. And this team does not want to win for the entire game.
I'm going to quote former Arizona Cardinals head coach, former Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon when I ask this question. When the players got on the bus, if they drove to the airport or if they took the team bus, did they have a fire in their gut? They better get one. The team only started to play well with 10 minutes left when they were down by 32 points. So my question is, kind of related to yours, Gabe, why can't they just pretend that they are down by 30 points for the entire game? Because that level of desperation, that level of we need this bad was just non-existent through the game's first 30 minutes. It was not there. It only took them being down 32 and for UNC to finally, I guess, ease up a little bit and realize the game was already won for them to finally realize, oh, shoot, we need a fire in our gut. No. You should have got on the bus to UNC knowing you're playing the number 14 team in the land, knowing that there are fans that are calling for your coach's head, that are calling for you to be benched. Where was that fire when you got on the bus? You didn't bring it. You did not act like you were down 30 from the moment you got on the plane, and it showed when you hit the floor. It took them 5 minutes to score more than 2 points. They did not come out with the fire. Throughout the rest of the first half, they didn't have the fire at all as UNC started to pull away and get those steals, hit them with the full court press. No fire. Only when there was literally nothing else to lose did Syracuse play with any sort of fire, any sort of synergy, any sort of ball movement, any sort of desperation. Guys were standing around. Guys didn't have their hands up on defense. Basic, day one things. It took a wake-up call in the sense that you got punched in the mouth so hard that you had to wake up. It's like they were asleep on the couch. UNC dumped a bucket of water on their head. Because they had nothing else to lose, they started playing like they had nothing to lose. Well, guess what, Syracuse? You're out of the tournament. You don't have anything left to lose this season. There is nothing left for you to do except for punch hard and play with a fire in your gut. Pretend like you are down 30 when you're eating breakfast in the morning. Pretend like you are down 30 when you get on the bus. Pretend like you're down 30 when you're in class doing a test. Live your life like you're down 30 points, because if that's the effort you give when you're down 30 points, then that should be the bare minimum. Live your life like you're down 30, like you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, and Syracuse can maybe put together a respectable performance for the rest of the season, one that's worth these fans' time and attention that they are still giving to this team.
You know, could they petition the ACC to have them start each game down 30 points?
That would be awesome.
Is that possible?
That would be great.
Just you know, why not?
Have a team just start going with all that pent-up rage and anger.
They'll be in the lead by halftime.
I'll tell you what, they'll move without the ball.
Yeah.
At least that. They will move without the ball.
All 5 players will move.
They'll play like they're a family. They'll play like they're brothers. They'll play like they have something to prove.
They'll know each other's names.
They will know each other's names, birthdays, middle names, dogs' names, maybe addresses.
Girlfriends.
Favorite foods.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. Favorite vacation spot?
Cancun?
Well, hopefully not there.
I might be speaking a little too soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully it's
in a perfect world.
In a perfect world, Syracuse can win out.
Yeah.
And win the ACC tournament and make March Madness, and things are back to normal and everyone is all sunshine and rainbows. Adrian Autry gets a 10-year contract because he just coached so well down the stretch. All the players, they get their jerseys in the rafters. That's if all goes according to plan. Right now, it's not going according to plan. It really is just the lack of energy and emphasis and focus because the team just, I don't know if the self-awareness is lacking, but you cannot come out here if you're, say, like a Nathan George or someone, or say that the fan disrespect is crazy when you're doing nothing except saying we have to be better. You can give us lip service all you want. You can give the media, you can give fans lip service all you want. Doesn't change the fact that you are night in, night out, as Augie said, showing consistent inconsistency.
And the worst part of this is that it can only get worse from here. And in all likelihood, it will only get worse from here because the schedule gets so much harder. Virginia, Duke, so many teams that can just destroy them like we saw for 35 minutes against North Carolina tonight. It only gets harder.
Yeah, I know historians may look back on box scores of the Virginia Tech game and the UNC game. They only started fighting when the game was already lost. The season is already lost, really, for all intents and purposes, unless, Syracuse plays like they're down 30 all the time. Speaking of Virginia, that is the next broadcast. It's a very tricky one, though, Gabe. It's this Saturday at noon. We've got a little WAER doubleheader, a little dilemma, if you will, because at the same time at noon, number 3 Syracuse men's lacrosse. Now, that's a team to look out for.
Yes.
They're playing St.
That
Joseph's.
offense works.
That offense really works because they move the ball around a lot.
Yes, they do.
They have a lot of great scorers. I'm really excited to see what this men's lacrosse team can do. They might win the national championship this year.
I mean, what's better than a double overtime with just one game?
2 games. What is that, a quadruple overtime?
It is, yeah.
I
love
sign
that.
me up. Sign me and the rest of Syracuse up.
This is great.
It might be 1 win. It might be 1 loss. It might be 2 wins. That would be best case scenario for Syracuse fans. Regardless, you can tune in to all the action Saturday until 4 on WAER Syracuse. Our hosts, Gino Antamarino, who you heard on the call tonight, and Nick King will be on the double overtime until 4 p.m., breaking down both Syracuse taking on number 18 Virginia and number 3 Syracuse men's lacrosse taking on St. Joseph's. Well, you hear the music. That means the show is just about over. 11 p.m. is upon us. Before we leave, some flowers to hand out. First to our producer, Rahil Jaswal, all dolled up, coming straight from other obligations.
He looks
Glad that
really
you are
good.
on the team and helping us out. Our engineer, Griffin Bloomstein, who doubled as Steve Harvey today. You heard him a little bit ago. Thank you to him for keeping us afloat and on the air all the way until this ungodly hour. Please, if you're still listening, get some sleep. I promise we're done now. Our reporter, Augie Walters, braving the elements down in North Carolina where there was maybe 2 inches of snow.
Or so we thought.
Oh, so we thought. Apparently it's warm down there. He was on the show. Big thank you to him. To our WAER Sports Talk desk, Ella Armbruster, Jason Glick, Nick Zuppi, helping us out on social media with some of those rejoins you heard to our segments. Beautiful stuff all day, keeping our stream on YouTube up. Thank you all so much. Gabe Perrin, my best friend and roommate, you've been a wonderful co-host with me. Jish Sokolsky saying so long, Syracuse. North Carolina gets the best of the basketball team, 87-77. Still, have a sweet night and take it easy. Stay warm, Syracuse.